Okay, we're doing section 3.2, example 1, part A, and I've already graphed the function that you see on the worksheet there. So we have to do 5 things for this example. We have to find the limit, or find f of a if it exists. So for part A here, f of, in this case, find all values x equals a where the function is discontinuous. So if you read about continuity in the book and in the worksheet and watched the videos, you'll see that we have a jump discontinuity when x is equal to -1. That is, you can see here we've got sort of this jump in the function here. That means the limit doesn't exist because as we approach from the right and the left, we don't get the same values. So anyway, the so-called problem value here is at -1. So a is equal to -1 here for the problem x value. So for part A, find f of a if it exists. So find f of -1, that is, for this particular problem. Well, f of -1, if we go over here to x equals -1, we see we go up 2 units, and that's where the filled-in circle is. That's how the function is defined, as the filled-in circle. The y value there is 2, so f of -1 is equal to 2. For part B, we're asked to find the limit as x approaches the same x value, so -1, from the left, so we put a little minus on there, of f of x. So to find the limit as we approach from the left, we want to be plugging in values only to the left of -1, so like maybe -1.5. Let's start with -2 actually. If I plug -2 in there, you see that the output is right there. If I plug in maybe 1.5, you see that the output is this y value right here. So the first output was there, the second one was there. If I get even closer, you can see that we get that output value. So the closer that the x values get to -1, it looks like these y values are getting closer to the number 2. So that would be the limit as I approach from the left, which happens to be the same as the output value of the function. For part C, we want to find the limit as x approaches -1 from the right. So we put the little plus on there to say that we only want to look at x values that are to the right of -1. So now if I do that, if I start plugging in, this might get a little bit busy here, but see if I plug in like -0.5 here, I'm not going to draw the dotted line because it'll get too busy, but you see that the output value comes up here, and it's right there. Now if I get a little bit closer, I have to go up here, and I see that the output value is up there. So the closer that I get to -1 coming from this direction, it seems that the output values are getting closer to the number 4. So that is the limit from the right. And remember, when we were talking about limits, it doesn't matter how the function is defined right at this value -1, or whatever value you happen to be looking at. All that matters is what the y values tend to do as you approach from one direction, and then from the other direction, the minus from the left, the plus from the right. And then finally for part D, now we're going to take the plus and the minus off of there. So we'll look for just the limit as we approach -1. Now, since these two, the right and the left limit, were not the same, we can say that this limit does not exist. And the reason for that is that the left and right limits are not the same. So if we want to give a reason, this is it. The limit as x approaches -1 from the left is not the same thing as the limit as we approach -1 from the right. And since these two limits aren't equal, the limit itself without the plus or the minus doesn't exist. Okay, and that actually answers part E as well. Why is there a discontinuity at x equals -1? It's discontinuous because the limit doesn't exist. So there's a discontinuity at x equals -1 because, notice that there's 3 reasons that we can have a discontinuity. So when we're asked Why is there a discontinuity? You have to say one of these three reasons at the top of the page. Either the function is not defined, the limit doesn't exist, or the limit's not the same as the function value. In our case, it's because the limit as we approach -1 for this particular function does not exist. So that's why there's a discontinuity there.